Tina Walker sat alone in her quiet living room, staring at the empty space where her family used to gather. Her hands trembled as she whispered, "I still can't believe they left me." She remembered the cold night her mother, Mary, had said, "She can't make it. I'll take her red car. I'll take her duplex. She'll understand later." Tina heard her brother, Sam, laughing softly behind the door, thinking she couldn't hear. "She won't fight back," he said. "She never does." Tina felt something inside her break that night, something she didn't know how to fix. She didn't know that everything she lost would one day return to her in a way no one expected. She thought about the moment her world collapsed, the moment her own family abandoned her at the hospital. Tina remembered lying in that cold room with tubes in her arms, waiting for someone to walk through the door. Hours passed. No one came. When she called her mother, Mary answered with a tired sigh and said, "You'll have to stay there for now. Things at home are complicated." Tina whispered, "Mom, I need you." But Mary only replied, "We'll talk later," before hanging up. That was the moment Tina realized she was alone in ways she never imagined. Growing up, Tina had always been the strong one, the one who carried everyone else's weight. Her father, Tom Walker, worked hard his whole life but often came home exhausted from long shifts. Tina used to sit beside him at the kitchen table as he counted coins, whispering, "We'll be okay, Dad." When Tina turned 18, she told him, "I'll take care of the family now." Tom placed a tired hand on hers and said, "You're a good girl, Tina. But don't forget yourself." She never imagined those words would come back to haunt her years later. From that moment on, Tina worked 2 jobs, then 3, waking up before sunrise and returning home long after her siblings had gone to bed. She paid for school supplies, uniforms, bills, and groceries. Her younger sister, Lily, often hugged her and said, "You're like a second mom." But Sam, who was 12 at the time, only shrugged and said, "Well, that's what oldest siblings do." Tina didn't mind. She wanted to help. She believed love meant sacrifice. She believed her family would always stand beside her because she had stood beside them. She had no idea how wrong she was. When her father became sick, Tina never left his side. She talked to doctors, paid medical bills, and held his hand during long nights when he struggled to breathe. One night he whispered, "You've done enough for everyone. Promise me you'll take care of yourself too." Tina forced a smile and said, "I will, Dad." But when he passed away weeks later, she felt the world tilt beneath her feet. Her mother cried uncontrollably, Lily hid in her room, and Sam asked, "What do we do now?" And just like that, everyone turned to Tina for answers because she was always the strong one, even when her heart was shattered. After the funeral, Tina became everything her family needed: provider, counselor, backbone, and silent protector. She used the money she had saved for her own future to keep the house running. Bills, food, school fees. She handled it all without complaint. One afternoon, her mother said, "Tina, we should start a small family business. Something your father would be proud of." Tina smiled softly. "If it will help everyone, I'll support it." Lily hugged her tightly while Sam muttered, "Finally, something that benefits all of us." Tina didn't notice the shift in their tone, the expectation hidden behind their gratitude. As the months passed, Tina invested more and more of her money into the business. She met with vendors, handled clients, and even covered unexpected expenses. Her mother praised her in public, saying, "Tina is the reason we're still standing." But behind closed doors, Sam sometimes whispered to Lily, "She thinks she owns everything." Tina ignored the small comments. She believed families had disagreements. She believed everything would balance out one day. How could she know the seeds of betrayal were already growing in the hearts of the people she loved most? Then came the day that changed her life forever. It was a busy Tuesday morning, and Tina was driving to work with a presentation on her mind. She didn't see the truck until it was too late. There was a violent crash, metal twisting, glass shattering, the world turning upside down. When she opened her eyes again, she tasted blood and felt nothing but pain everywhere. Sirens echoed around her. A paramedic leaned over her and said, "Ma'am, stay with me. You're going to be okay." But Tina didn't feel okay. She felt like her entire life had split apart on that road. She woke up in the hospital hours later, barely able to breathe. A nurse explained softly, "You have a broken leg, 3 broken ribs, and internal injuries. But you survived." Tina swallowed painfully. Can I see my family? The nurse nodded. They were here earlier. Maybe they'll return soon. Her mother arrived first, eyes red with worry. "Oh, Tina," she cried, taking her hand. Sam stood beside her with a stiff expression, saying, "You scared us." For a moment, Tina believed everything would be okay. For a moment, she believed her family would stay by her side. But the visits grew fewer as the days turned into weeks. Her mother always rushed in and out, saying, "The business is a mess without you." Sam rarely stayed longer than 5 minutes. Lily only texted, "I'm praying for you, sis." The loneliness grew thicker around Tina's hospital bed. But then came a knock one evening. A young woman walked in holding flowers. "Hi," she said softly. "I'm Dana. The student you mentored. I heard what happened." For the first time since the accident, Tina felt a small spark of comfort, a stranger showing more care than the people she had sacrificed everything for. Dana visited every day, bringing warm meals, fresh flowers, and gentle conversation. "You shouldn't feel alone in a time like this," she told her. Tina smiled weakly. "You're a blessing, Dana. Truly." Meanwhile, her family's presence faded into silence. Days passed with no calls, no check-ins, no support. One evening Tina whispered, "Why does it feel like I've been forgotten?" The nurse touched her shoulder and replied, "Sometimes hardship shows us who truly cares." Tina closed her eyes and wondered how people she loved so deeply could pull away so easily. 2 weeks later, Tina's doctor explained she needed major surgery to stop internal bleeding. The news terrified her. When her family finally visited, she said softly, "I need you with me. I'm scared." Mary exchanged a strange look with Sam before saying, "We need to talk about your assets." Tina blinked. "My what?" Sam leaned forward. "Your house. Your car. The business. We think it's safer if everything is transferred to us. Just in case something happens during surgery." Tina stared at them, numb. "You want me to sign everything over while I'm drugged and afraid?" She refused. "No. Not now. Not like this." Sam's jaw tightened. Mary forced a smile. "It's for your protection, Tina." But her instinct screamed that something was terribly wrong. After they left, Tina lay awake trembling, replaying the moment her mother said, "It will make things easier for the family." She whispered into the darkness, "Why are they acting like vultures?" When Dana arrived later, Tina finally broke down crying. "My own family wants my property more than they want me." Dana held her gently. "Then I'll help you protect yourself. You're not alone." Tina survived the surgery, but her family didn't return to celebrate or comfort her. 3 days later, she finally reached Mary on the phone. "Mom, when are you coming back?" she asked. Mary sighed. "About that, you won't be staying at the house after discharge. Things have changed." Tina felt her chest tighten. "Changed how?" Sam's voice cut into the call. "There are legal issues with your ownership. Better if you stay somewhere else." Tina whispered, "I paid for everything. How is it suddenly not my home?" The answer was silence, cold, suffocating silence. She tried checking her bank account on the hospital computer, but access was denied. When she called the bank, the representative said, "Your account was frozen due to suspicious activity, reported by a cosigner." "My mother?" Tina asked in disbelief. Then came the blow. Over $70,000 had been transferred out while Tina was unconscious in the hospital. "But I didn't authorize anything," she whispered. The representative sighed gently. "You'll need to dispute the transfers. It may take weeks." Tina sat trembling in her hospital bed, realizing her family wasn't just abandoning her. They were stripping her life away piece by piece. Dana returned that evening to find Tina shaking. "Tell me what happened," she said. Tina explained everything: the frozen bank accounts, the stolen money, the threat of losing her home. Dana's expression hardened. "Then we fight back. I know a lawyer. A good one." The next day, a sharp-minded attorney named Karen arrived. After reviewing the documents, Karen said, "Someone is trying to take everything from you. But they didn't expect you to have someone in your corner." For the first time since the accident, Tina felt a spark of hope. "What do we do?" she asked. Karen replied, "We start protecting what's yours." Karen launched emergency filings and began gathering evidence. What she uncovered chilled Tina to the bone: forged property documents, suspicious signatures, and coordinated attempts to shift ownership of the business. "This isn't confusion," Karen said. "This is a plan." Tina held her head in her hands. "My own family planned to erase me." Dana squeezed her shoulder. "You survived the crash. You'll survive this." But Tina couldn't shake the pain. "I never asked for anything," she whispered. "All I ever did was help them." Karen nodded slowly. "And now you'll help yourself." When Tina was finally discharged, her brothers arrived pretending to help. "Mom said you're coming home," Sam insisted. But Tina had learned to read the danger in their eyes. "No," she said firmly. "I'm staying elsewhere." Sam snapped, "You're making a mistake. Family is family." Tina met his glare. "Family doesn't steal." His face darkened, but she didn't waver. Dana wheeled her out of the hospital and drove her to safety. As they pulled away, Tina whispered, "I think I just walked away from my past." Dana replied, "Good. Now let's build your future." At Dana's apartment, Tina was frail, but her mind was sharper than ever. "I can't believe I have nothing," she said, staring at the ceiling. Dana sat beside her. "You have me. And you have truth on your side." Over the days that followed, Tina replayed everything in her mind: every sacrifice, every bill she had paid, every dream she had set aside. "They didn't just steal money," she whispered. "They stole years of my life." Dana responded calmly, "Then you're going to take your power back." Tina didn't know how yet, but she knew she wouldn't stay broken. One afternoon, Dana's mother, Rose, a warm but sharp-eyed woman, visited. She sat beside Tina and asked softly, "Hard day?" Tina nodded, tears gathering. "I've lost everything. My family. My home. My savings. I feel like a ghost." Rose studied her face. "You're not a ghost. You're a survivor standing at the start of a new beginning." Tina shook her head. "I don't feel strong." Rose replied gently, "Strength doesn't always feel like strength. Sometimes it feels like standing up again when you have every reason to stay down." Those words settled deep inside Tina's heart, words that would guide her toward the battle ahead. Over the next week, Rose visited often, bringing books and quiet wisdom. "You must rebuild your mind before you rebuild your life," she told Tina one morning. They sat on the apartment balcony as sunlight warmed the railings. "Your family stole things," Rose continued, "but they couldn't steal your mind or your potential." Tina stared at her hands. "What if I'm too broken to rise again?" Rose shook her head. "Broken things aren't useless. They're rebuildable. And rebuilt things are often stronger than before." Tina exhaled slowly, unsure but willing to believe. Karen, the lawyer, returned days later with heavy news. "Your mother and brothers didn't act alone," she said. She laid out documents showing emails, transactions, and even messages linked to Tina's fiancé, Mark, a man Tina had once trusted with her secrets. Tina felt her heart drop. "Mark," she whispered. "He helped them." Karen nodded. "He fed them financial details, shared your earnings, even forwarded your business plans. And he received thousands of dollars for it." Tina covered her mouth, trembling. "I was planning a future with him." Karen's eyes softened. "Then let this be the last day he has any power over you." That night, Tina called Mark. He answered cheerfully, "Hey babe, how are you feeling?" Tina's voice was cold, calm. "I know everything, Mark. The money. The betrayal. The lies." Silence hit the line like a punch. "Tina," he stammered, "it wasn't what it looks like." She cut him off. "You sold me for pocket change. You took the trust one gave you and handed it to thieves." Mark snapped, "Your family needed help." Tina closed her eyes. "And you needed money more than you needed me." She ended the call, letting the truth settle like a final nail sealing a coffin. The following week tested Tina emotionally. She woke up at night shaking from nightmares, replaying the hospital abandonment in her mind. Dana stayed close, making sure she ate, slept, and continued physiotherapy. One evening, Tina cried quietly, saying, "I don't know who I am without them, without the role I played." Rose sat beside her and replied softly, Then it's time to meet the woman you were always meant to be. Not the one they used, but the one who can stand on her own. Tina wiped her tears, whispering, "I want to find her." Rose began coaching her personally, showing her how business structures worked, how money flowed, and how influence was built. "Knowledge is power," Rose said, sliding a folder across the table, "and power is protection." Tina absorbed everything like a sponge. She took notes, asked questions, and learned how to read contracts, bank statements, and ownership documents. Rose smiled at her progress. "You're learning fast." Tina straightened her shoulders. "I've spent years building others. Now it's time to build myself." For the first time, she felt a glimmer of her old confidence returning, but stronger, sharper. When Tina regained her physical strength, she returned to her job. Her colleagues welcomed her back warmly, unaware of the storm she had survived. She poured her energy into work, impressing her boss with creative solutions and bold ideas. At a strategy meeting, her boss said, "Tina, your insight is exceptional. Keep this up." She left the meeting with a quiet smile. Each small success stitched another piece of her heart back together. She wasn't healed yet, but she was rising, piece by piece. And she knew her journey was leading somewhere bigger than she had imagined. Meanwhile, through Rose's connections, Tina met a financial advisor who reviewed her situation carefully. "Your family's business is small but valuable," he explained. "If you want to regain control, there are legal, quiet ways to acquire influence." Tina leaned forward. "Control isn't my goal. Protection is." The advisor nodded. "Then you need leverage, something that ensures they can never touch your assets again." He taught her how to track business filings, monitor property records, and identify suspicious transactions. Tina realized something important. Her power didn't need to look like revenge. It could look like preparedness. Months passed, and Tina grew into her new life. Her confidence sharpened. Her voice steadied. Her decisions became calculated rather than emotional. One evening she told Rose, "I used to think strength meant giving endlessly. Now I see strength means protecting myself first." Rose smiled proudly. "Exactly. You cannot pour from an empty cup." Tina looked out the window at the glowing city lights. "I feel like something big is coming," she whispered. Rose replied softly, "It is. And you're finally ready for it." Tina didn't know what awaited her, but she wasn't afraid anymore. Soon, Karen returned with an update. "We finally have the last piece," she said, placing a thick envelope on the table. Inside were copies of property files, emails, and voice recordings gathered by professionals. "This proves the forgery," Karen explained. "This proves they tried to erase you." Tina took a deep breath as she flipped through the papers. "So this is it," she whispered. "This is the truth." Karen nodded. "Enough truth to hold them accountable. Enough truth to free you." Tina closed the folder slowly. "Then it's time," she said. "Time to confront what's left of my old life." Rose watched her with quiet admiration. "You've come far," she said. "But confrontation isn't about anger. It's about closure." Tina nodded firmly. "I don't want to fight. I want to end it." She planned everything carefully: where to meet, what to say, how to stand tall without shaking. The woman who once cried alone in a hospital bed was gone. In her place stood a woman who had been rebuilt from broken pieces. "I'm ready," Tina whispered. Rose touched her shoulder. "Then go show them who you've become." The final battle for her freedom was about to begin. On a calm Saturday morning, Tina called her family to meet her at the house she had bought and maintained for years. They arrived confused, whispering among themselves as they stepped inside. Mary crossed her arms. "Why did you call this meeting?" Tina stood tall, her expression steady. "Because this chapter needs to end today." She placed folders on the table, documents proving the forgery, the transfers, the conspiracy. Sam's face dropped immediately. "Where did you get all this?" Tina replied softly, "From the truth. Something all of you forgot how to handle." Her mother flipped through the documents, her hands trembling. This isn't real." Tina shook her head. "It's very real. And the court already confirmed it." Jay slammed his fist on the table. "You're trying to destroy us." Tina met his anger with calm resolve. "You destroyed yourselves when you tried to erase me. Mary's lip quivered. We were scared. We needed security. Tina whispered, I was your security. I spent my life giving everything to you. She took a steady breath. I deserve better than betrayal. She placed new papers on the table, legal notices. These are the charges being filed, Tina said. Fraud. Forgery. Conspiracy. Sam stood abruptly. You wouldn't dare. Tina didn't flinch. Watch me. Silence filled the room like a heavy fog. Mary's eyes filled with tears. Tina, please. We can fix this. Tina shook her head gently. You had years to fix it. You chose greed every time. She stepped back from the table, no longer trembling. I'm choosing peace. And peace begins with letting the law speak for me. Her family stared at her in stunned disbelief. What about the business? Jay demanded. You own most of it now. Tina nodded. Yes. And I don't want it. She slid one last document across the table. I'm transferring it to you. All three gasped. Mary whispered, Why would you do that? Tina sighed softly. Because I don't want anything that ties me to the past. Sam frowned. You're giving it away? Tina nodded. I'm letting it go. I'm freeing myself. For the first time, her voice carried complete peace, not anger, not spite. Just freedom. Tina walked toward the door. My lawyer will contact you. The prosecutor will, too. After that, we're done. Mary rushed forward, grabbing her arm. Tina, don't leave us like this. We're your family. Tina looked into her mother's eyes she had tried to please her whole life. Family doesn't abandon you in a hospital. Family doesn't steal from you while you're fighting for your life. Family doesn't use your love as a weapon. She gently pulled her arm away. I hope one day you learn what family really means. Outside, the air felt lighter. Tina walked to her car without looking back. For the first time in years, she felt her lungs expand fully, as if she had been breathing through a straw her entire life. Dana and Rose were waiting down the street, watching supportively. When Tina approached, Dana smiled. How did it go? Tina answered with a calmness that surprised her. It's over. Really over. Rose nodded proudly. Endings are painful, but necessary. Now you can begin again. The legal process unfolded exactly as Karen predicted. Her mother received a conviction for fraud and forgery. Her brothers were charged with conspiracy and ordered to repay the money they had taken. The story made local news before spreading wider. People called Tina brave, strong, even inspirational, but she didn't want praise. She wanted peace. One night, Dana said, you didn't just survive them. You defeated the darkness they tried to place in you. Tina smiled gently. I didn't defeat darkness. I walked away from it. Months passed, and Tina's life transformed beautifully. She earned a major promotion at work, eventually becoming a respected leader trusted by everyone. She bought a new home, a warm, peaceful space filled with sunlight instead of shadows. She mentored young women who had experienced betrayal or hardship. You can rise, she told them. You can rebuild. Every time she spoke, she remembered how Rose once saved her with a simple conversation. And now she was passing that light forward, creating hope where there once was pain. One evening, Tina stood on her balcony watching the sunset. The sky glowed with soft gold and gentle pink, the kind of colors she used to ignore during her darkest days. Rose joined her, leaning on the railing. You've come a long way, she said. Tina nodded. I didn't think I would survive it. Rose smiled knowingly. But you didn't just survive. You rose into someone stronger, wiser, and freer than ever before. Tina whispered, I finally feel like myself. Rose replied, No, you finally feel like the woman you were meant to be. Tina closed her eyes and breathed deeply, letting the cool air wash over her. The woman who stood on that balcony was not the same woman abandoned in a hospital bed. She was rebuilt, piece by piece, truth by truth, strength by strength. My family tried to break me, she said softly. But all they did was teach me how to rise. She opened her eyes and smiled. I choose peace. I choose myself. And I choose a future that belongs only to me. For the first time, Tina wasn't surviving. She was living. And her story had finally found its ending.